Welcome to the Pulse of Earth. Tonight we're diving into a paradox at the heart of American industry. Iconic companies, Ford, GE, Caterpillar, Whirlpool, Harley-Davidson, are facing a battle not just globally but right here at home. Tariffs meant to protect American manufacturing are having unexpected consequences. Retaliatory tariffs drive up costs and limit access to foreign markets, squeezing these giants. The result? Companies are shifting investments, supply chains, and jobs overseas. Let's break down how these policies are reshaping the future of Made in America. Ford, a symbol of American manufacturing, is feeling the squeeze. Tariffs on steel and aluminum added $1 billion to Ford's costs, money that had to come from somewhere. The company canceled plans to import the Focus Active, not due to lack of demand, but because tariffs made it unprofitable. This is how policy can limit consumer choice and stifle innovation. To survive, Ford sought efficiencies, often by looking overseas. Rising domestic material costs made foreign production more attractive. The paradox policies meant to protect American jobs pushed Ford to invest abroad. Every dollar spent on a plant in Mexico or Europe is a dollar not spent in Michigan or Ohio. The tariffs, intended as a shield, became a wedge between Ford's American identity and its global reality. Instead of boosting U.S. manufacturing, the policy raised costs and reduced profitability. Ford shifted resources and supply chains, moving parts of production out of the U.S. The result? Fewer opportunities for American workers and a strategic shift away from domestic growth. The story of Ford is a lesson in unintended consequences. Efforts to protect American steel ended up hurting American manufacturing. For Ford, the ripple effect was a tidal wave. Billions lost, jobs shifted, and a future increasingly built abroad. American workers are left asking, what happened to Made in America? General Electric, a titan of American innovation, found its global supply chain thrown into chaos by tariffs. GE relies on thousands of specialized components, many not made competitively, in the U.S. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and Chinese goods sent costs soaring by hundreds of millions. The company couldn't simply buy American. The global system was built for efficiency, not isolation. To offset costs, GE moved final assembly of some products overseas, closer to customers, and away from U.S. tariffs. The result: high-skilled jobs and advanced assembly work began migrating to Europe and Asia. American workers weren't necessarily laid off, but future growth and new products shifted abroad. The tariffs, meant to bring manufacturing home, instead incentivized offshoring of even high-tech jobs. GE's story shows how trade barriers can hollow out American operations, not with factory closures, but with lost potential. The company adapted to survive, but that meant steering resources and growth away from the U.S. The lesson: in a world built on open trade, raising barriers can push even America's greatest economic ambassadors to look elsewhere. Tariffs didn't just raise costs, they changed the logic of where to build the future. For GE, the cost was measured not just in dollars, but in lost opportunities for American workers. The global supply chain is a delicate web. Disrupt it, and the consequences ripple far beyond the factory floor. Instead of bringing jobs back, tariffs pushed them further away. The story of GE is a warning. Protectionism can backfire even for the most American of companies. The future of American manufacturing depends on understanding these global realities. Caterpillar, the maker of America's iconic yellow machines, was hit hard by steel and aluminum tariffs. As one of the largest U.S. steel consumers, Caterpillar saw costs spike by up to $350 million in a single year. The company had to raise prices, making its equipment less competitive both at home and abroad. Retaliatory tariffs from countries like China made things worse, taxing Caterpillar's finished products. The result? Caterpillar was squeezed from both ends. Higher costs to build, higher barriers to sell. To survive, Caterpillar shifted some production overseas, building machines closer to customers and using non-U.S. steel. The irony? A policy meant to protect American steelworkers ended up threatening factory jobs in Illinois and Texas. U.S. plants faced reduced schedules and layoffs as work moved abroad. The impact rippled through entire communities, affecting not just Caterpillar employees but local suppliers and businesses. Tariffs, intended as a targeted weapon, inflicted widespread collateral damage. The machines that build America are increasingly being built elsewhere. Caterpillar's experience is a stark warning. Trade policy can dismantle what it aims to protect. The cost isn't just higher prices, it's lost jobs, shuttered plants, and weakened local economies. The lesson: in a global market, protectionist policies can undermine the very industries they're meant to save. For Caterpillar, the price of tariffs was paid in American jobs and community stability. The story is clear. When building in America becomes too expensive, even the most loyal companies look abroad. The future of American manufacturing depends on smarter, more nuanced trade strategies. Otherwise, the machines that built America may be built somewhere else. Whirlpool's story began as a rare win for tariffs. When the U.S. taxed imported washing machines, Whirlpool gained an edge and added jobs in Ohio. It looked like a textbook victory for American manufacturing. But the celebration was short-lived. Broad steel and aluminum tariffs soon followed, raising Whirlpool's raw material costs. The company's initial gains were quickly eroded by higher production expenses. Whirlpool had to raise prices, shrinking its advantage over foreign competitors. American consumers faced higher prices, no matter the brand. Whirlpool, like others, is a global company, so to stay competitive abroad, it expanded production outside the U.S. The incentive to build for foreign markets in America disappeared. The result: while some jobs were added in Ohio, broader tariff pressures pushed Whirlpool to invest more overseas. The net effect? A mix of short-term job growth and long-term globalization. Tariffs helped and hurt Whirlpool at the same time. The company's experience highlights the complexity of intervening in a global economy. What started as a targeted win became a cautionary tale about unintended consequences. The initial victory was real, but higher costs and global pressures forced Whirlpool to look abroad for future growth. The lesson: trade wars rarely have clear winners. Even the beneficiaries can end up caught in the crossfire. Harley-Davidson, an icon of American freedom, faced a crisis when the EU retaliated against U.S. steel tariffs. The EU slapped a 31% tariff on U.S.-made motorcycles, adding over $2,000 to each bike sold in Europe. Europe is Harley's second-largest market. This was a direct hit. The company couldn't absorb the cost or pass it to customers without losing sales. So, Harley announced it would move production for European bikes out of the US to facilities in Thailand and Brazil. The irony was painful. A policy meant to protect American industry forced an American legend to shift jobs overseas. The move sparked outrage and led to the closure of Harley's Kansas City plant. These weren't just any jobs, they were Harley jobs, a source of pride for workers and communities. The company insisted it remained committed to U.S. manufacturing for American customers, but the economic logic was undeniable. The policy backfired spectacularly, turning a shield into a sword against American workers. Harley's story is a vivid example of how trade wars play out in the real world. Retaliatory tariffs target the most symbolic American brands, causing real pain for workers and communities. The decision wasn't about abandoning America, it was about survival. The lesson: when you impose tariffs, expect retaliation, often aimed at your most vulnerable industries. Harley-Davidson's saga shows that even the most American companies can be forced to look abroad. Trade policy isn't just about numbers, it's about people, jobs, and the future of American manufacturing. The cost of protectionism can be measured in lost jobs and shuttered plants. For Harley, the open road led overseas, not by choice, but by necessity. The story is a warning. Trade wars have real, lasting consequences. Even legends aren't immune. Ford, GE, Caterpillar, Whirlpool, Harley-Davidson, 5 pillars of American industry, all pushed abroad by tariffs meant to protect them. The intention was to shield American jobs, but the result has been lost opportunities and investment flowing overseas. Tariffs raised costs, disrupted supply chains, and forced even the most American companies to look elsewhere. The question remains, are tariffs a necessary tool, or a self-inflicted wound? This debate affects every worker, consumer, and community in America. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching The Pulse of Earth.